is now the nation's deadliest attack.
Terrifying moments in downtown Manhattan.
He said he was happy with what he had done.
The aftermath of the attack on the Al Medan police station.
3 U.S. soldiers are dead and 2 others wounded after an ambush Wednesday in Niger.
People were killed. Nearly 300 others were injured in what is now the nation's deadliest attack ever.
Out of nowhere, I see people running and screaming, and then just multiple gunshots, one after another.
Terrifying moments in downtown Manhattan. A pickup truck barreling down a busy bike and footpath for nearly a mile. The carnage ending just blocks from the World Trade Center.
Casualty. This is a mass casualty situation. Shut down from 14th Street on the West Side Highway at this time.
Police say the suspect, 29-year-old Sayfulo Saipov, was shot in the stomach and remains hospitalized. A law enforcement source says a note was found near the truck saying the attack was done in the name of ISIS.
On Wednesday, the suspect, Sayfulo Saipov, a 29-year-old from Uzbekistan, who had been legally living in the U.S. for 7 years, was linked to terrorism.
We know that he admitted to investigators that he took inspiration from ISIL videos online. He said he was happy with what he had done and the results of his attack. And he also asked if he could hang an ISIL flag in his hotel room.
A native of Uzbekistan came to the United States in 2010. In 2013, he married a young woman also from Uzbekistan in Ohio. The occupation listed on his marriage license, truck driver.
They say a man deliberately drove this rental truck into a bike path, mowing down cyclists and pedestrians, causing multiple deaths.
At 3:05 p.m., the truck entered the bike path, driving south along New York City's riverfront on the west side of Lower Manhattan, into cyclists and pedestrians for nearly a mile. Bodies and mangled bikes strewn the truck eventually coming to a halt after crashing into a school bus outside Stuyvesant High School.
People remain hospitalized with serious injuries, including amputation, head, neck, and
I
body
see two
trauma.
gentlemen laying right there in the bike lane with tire marks across their body, and you could tell that
Among
they're not
the
here
8
no
killed,
more.
5 friends from Rosario in Argentina who are in New York celebrating the 30th anniversary of their high school graduation.
Be clear that based on the information we have at this moment, this was an act of terror, and a particularly cowardly act of terror aimed at innocent civilians, aimed at people going about their lives who had no idea what New Yorkers are strong, New Yorkers are resilient, and our spirit will never be moved by an act of violence, an act meant to intimidate us.
That resilience, that ability to be undeterred in the face of ugliness and the actions of a depraved coward. We felt the pain before, we feel the pain today, but we go forward together, and we go forward stronger.
President Donald Trump says the man charged with carrying out a New York City truck attack should get the death penalty.
29-year-old Saipov appeared in court in his wheelchair to face those charges late on Wednesday.
Earlier said he would consider sending Sayfullo Saipov to the U.S. prison camp at Guantanamo in Cuba.
At least 30 policemen have been killed by armed militants in Egypt's western desert during a raid on a suspected rebel hideout, according to security sources. Apparently ambushed their convoy using rocket-propelled grenades and explosive devices. There were several injuries and the number of dead is expected to rise. Egypt accuses the group of being the militant wing of the Muslim Brotherhood, which was outlawed in 2013, a claim the Brotherhood denies.
Hundreds in mourning across Egypt, paying their respects to 7 of the victims killed in a shootout with militants on Friday in the western desert. Sophisticated attacks against police and troops have been on the rise since Egypt's president Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came to power. Security has been a key point for the former military commander, who presents himself as a bastion against terrorism.
The aftermath of the attack on the Al Medan police station is plain to see. Went off in front of the heavily fortified 4-story building. According to witnesses, shortly after the blast, 2 other bombers strapped with explosives forced their way inside the station. One set off his device at the main entrance, while the other detonated his belt on the first floor. And this is the first major attack in Damascus since July, but it's not the first time the Al Medan police station, located in the city's south, has been targeted. Last December, a 9-year-old girl, posing as a lost child, carried an explosive device into the station. It was then set off remotely, killing her and injuring a police officer. In a statement on Monday's attack, the Syrian Minister of Interior, Ibrahim al-Shar, said, "Such explosions will not deter us from confronting terrorism in all of Syria. We will continue to investigate the circumstances of the bombings and the identity of the terrorists." Whatever the case, questions are no doubt being asked about how a major attack could again be carried out on such a sensitive location inside Damascus, which is home to President Bashar al-Assad. Since the start of the conflict nearly 7 years ago, the capital has had heavy security. Whenever Damascus is targeted in an attack, security is raised and government forces carry out retaliatory strikes in opposition-held areas.
U.S. Special Forces ambushed in the African country of Niger. There are reports now that 3 Green Berets were killed and 2 more injured in the West African nation. Fox is working to confirm these reports. We're told it was a squad of 8 to 10 special ops that were attacked in that area near Mali. So stay with us for any updates on that throughout the night.
3 U.S. soldiers are dead and 2 others wounded after an ambush Wednesday in Niger. U.S. Africa Command confirmed the service members were attacked while helping Nigerian security forces with their counter-terror operations. Military officials told several media outlets all 5 Americans were Green Berets. U.S. troops are in Niger to provide training and security assistance to the local forces as they target extremist groups in the area.
The head of the U.S. military is demanding answers on the deadliest U.S. combat mission of the Trump administration. 2 weeks after the ambush, Defense Secretary James Mattis, officials say, is discouraged by the lack of information he's received from his own people on the ISIS attack in Niger that killed 4 U.S. soldiers and injured 2 more. The 12-member U.S. Army team was meeting villagers in a town on the Niger-Mali border. They were walking back to their vehicles, which were not armored, when up to 50 ISIS-affiliated fighters attacked them with machine guns and rocket-propelled grenades. The Americans fought back, but were only armed with light weapons, such as rifles. After 30 minutes, French aircraft flew by to try to disperse the attackers from the air and later to evacuate the wounded. The U.S. had to rely on a private contractor to airlift out the dead.
Contact was considered unlikely, but there's a reason we have U.S. Army soldiers there and not the Peace Corps, because we carry guns.